Okay.
Oh wait, are you gonna kick it off or am I gonna kick it off?
You're going to kick it off.
I am.
Yep, you're going to kick it off. I just started this live now. I'm about to tweet it in another minute,
And then you'll tell me when to start.
and then we'll do a count like five, four, three, two, one, and then you start it.
Ooh, I'm totally nervous.
What happened?
I'm nervous.
Me too.
No, I don't like intros.
I don't
All
know
right,
what.
countdown.
Yeah.
Five, four,
No.
three, two, one, and we're live. Go ahead, Madhuri.
Hi, folks. Thanks for joining us today, Sunday's Blurred Book Club chat. We are going to be talking with our usual host, Thelonious Legend. He's the choice for this month. His book, Sins of the Father. So to get things started, I'll give you a little spiel about myself. I'm the author of the paranormal romance trilogy, The Sanctum, and I have an erotic romance series coming out in October. The first book is called Dutch, which I've been promoting everywhere. My apologies if all you see is the word Dutch every 2 seconds. And I was lucky enough to be a Blurred Book Club selection earlier this year, and now Thelonious has decided I'm kind of sane enough to host this thing, and helping me are Gwen and Libby from, you guys probably know them from Dose Twinges book reviews. So I'm going to let them take over and introduce themselves. Go for it.
Alrighty. I'm Guinevere Thomas, and I am joined with my twin sister, Libertad Thomas, and we are two halves to one whole to 200 Book Reviews, a book review site that highlights diversity in books. Mostly young adult, but if it's speculative fiction, we'll kind of take all ages. We also blog on Rebellious Cupid, that's open to more like romance and stuff that we wouldn't be allowed to put on Twinger Book Reviews, but it's called Rebellious Cupid Book Reviews, and we are also debuting a novel called The Marcanova in late August. So if anyone wants to know about that, just follow the chat. Ta-da!
Libby, are you
Libby, don't worry about her.
Don't worry about Libby. Okay, I'm not going to worry about Libby. So then Thelonious, I'm going to throw it to you, and you can talk to the group. Tell us about yourself and your book.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. This is Thelonious Legend, YA writer, first published book since the father. Was lucky enough to win the poll for the Book Club. So I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk to any readers that have read it and have questions. In the daytime, I do software. I manage a small software team, specializes in middleware solutions for IBM and open source products. At night, I'm a chauffeur for my daughters, and when I'm not doing all that, I'm trying to write. So in a soundbite, that's me.
That sounds like all of us trying to work it. We all have like a million things to do, and then you have like a whole gang of kids. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's an amazing juggling act, and I'm pretty impressive.
The struggle is real.
It is. It's totally, yeah. And like I said, then you have all those kids, so
Right,
I don't know
right.
how to do it. But I wanted to kick off the chat. I just wanted to, but like really generally, just give us a little about the inspiration for Sins of the Father, why you wrote it, how was your experience, how long did it take to complete, that kind of thing.
Well, Says the Father, I think it comes from my love of the science fiction and fantasy genre, and my daughters have this love also. And so when I would come home from work from the office, I would see the books they were reading, whether it was like a Nancy Drew, Harry Potter, Hunger Games, all great books, which I've read as well. But none of the heroes look like them. So I thought it would be great if a girl with Afro Puffs was actually the hero and not the funny friend or the comic relief or the sassy friend where they actually got to save the day and get the guy at the end.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the genesis for my book.
Yeah, the sassy friend thing, I hate that. That's not cool.
Well,
And that's
it's been
why
done to death.
what?
Yeah, it's been done to death, and
It is. Oh,
it's
yeah.
right. And as far as me, I kind of there's guys that are in the game that have kind of dropped breadcrumbs on how to go about this. Guys like DJ Jose Older, Brandon Easton, and I saw a YouTube clip of a Lifetime Achievement Award for Sidney Poitier that I'm about to tweet out. Um, and when he was coming up, he didn't have any breadcrumbs to follow. And so, just looking at what he was able to accomplish, I'm thinking there's no reason why I can't, publish, 2, 3, or 4 books, because I have people that I could, again, if not emulate, kind of use for inspiration.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then why? Because it's the sisters. I'm curious about. Is that based on because of your daughters?
Well, definitely. So there's an interesting dynamic in my house. My daughters love each other one minute and they hate each other the next. And there's like no rhyme, reading, rhythm, or pattern to how and when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to capture that dynamic, right? Where, they love each other, but they hate each other, which is a relationship I have with my sister.
Me and my sis.
Yeah, yeah. So anybody that comes from a big family, you have more than one sibling, there's always a fight for attention, for resources. Only so much oxygen in a room. And so I kind of wanted to capture that real dynamic, but then add superpowers to it.
Yeah. Yes, it's really cool. And I'm sure you've probably gotten really good feedback from young kids, right?
Yeah, I've got positive feedback, right? I've got some really good feedback. I think some of the interesting feedback that I got is that these girls use big words, and I was like, well, okay, all right. So you're okay with the superpowers though? you're not okay with the vocabulary.
Yeah.
I mean, because my girls are all honor students. They all, so you kind of write what you see, what you're exposed to, and so we challenge them at the dinner table intellectually, we try to glean as much from the day as we can. So a lot of that went into the book.
Cool. Good. Very nice.
Oh, okay, so I'm up. I wanted to actually bring up a subject that I'm really passionate about in your book. I noticed all the Parker sisters in the book are natural haired, and for you guys that don't know what natural hair is, it's like when you're black, when your hair grows out a certain way, it grows up, afro-like. In books, I feel like most black characters, especially women that I see in books, usually have straight hair or looser curls. So being that I've been natural for almost a year, I'm noticing that now books don't reflect that to look like me. So what was the decision behind making all your Parker sisters natural?
Well, so all my daughters are natural, and when my wife decided to go natural, I think it's been 15 years. I just watched the transformation of herself as far as self-affirmation, self-identity, with how once you go natural, and I don't know if anybody who's read Issa Rae's The Awkward Black Girl, she decided to cut off all of her hair and go natural, and she said it was the most freeing experience you've ever had. And I kind of want to have that transformation for Eve, right? Where Eve is not happy with what she looks, although she's a beautiful child, right? She doesn't see that because she's dark skinned, she has a big hip, she has an afro hair, isn't straight, and she had to come to a point where she realizes that just because she doesn't look like A, B, or C, that doesn't mean she's not beautiful. And accepting her hair in this natural state was part of that process. And so, for that classical hero journey, every hero has an internal battle that they have to overcome before they could, beat the monster. And part of Eve's internal journey was accepting her for who she are, was accepting herself. That means her body the way it is, her skin tone the way it is, And a big part of that is her hair the way it is.
Okay. Good answer.
Okay, so I wanted to ask a question about, you know, when I remember reading when you did the chat with Daniel Jose Older, and I remember reading the beginning of his book. That first paragraph is so, it just like pulls you in. And then I was reading in the beginning of your book, you have Hush Little Baby, and you put an entirely new spin on Hush Little Baby. Let me tell you, I was reading that, I was like, oh snap, this is so good. So can you talk about that for a second?
Well, yeah, so I wanted to have something that was kind of mellow. I don't know if anybody used to watch Nightmare on Elm Street.
No,
And
Baby Nightmares. I slept with my sister for 6 months.
yeah, and so there was always like this, it was like this really scary nursery rhyme.
Yeah, I know it. Don't sing it.
And so that was kind of I was kind of inspired by that. And I thought that was it kind of juxtaposed this kid lighthearted nursery rhyme with the kind of this dark, grimy passage, and I want to do that. And so, it's this man, and spoiler, it's this man. He's basically a super soldier for all intents and purposes. And they've done so many experiments to him, he doesn't know, which way is up. And when he comes to realization that he does have a wife, he does have a child, all he could think about is the song he would sing to his son before he put him to bed. Mm-hmm. And so as he tries to break out and get back to his family that he's realizing that he has, all he can think about is his son, and his wife and his bedtime story. And I definitely want to put that in there because one, it kind of sets the tone that yes, this is YA, but this is kind of some heavy lifting that these young girls, they do need to be worried about, cats that would do this to somebody, just to see that their stock prices go up a percentage of a point the next quarter.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad you like it though.
I mean, because I it's so important to get sucked in, like really catch your reader right in the beginning. And I mean, obviously, I mean, like Gabriel Garcia Marquez does it brilliantly in 100 Years of Solitude. With that first sentence of the book, it's so good.
Right.
But this was, when I read that scene, I was like, oh my God, look at you, Mister. That is some good stuff.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, no, I was totally impressed. I was sitting there like, whoa, this is good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, how have you grown as a writer from book 1, Sins of the Father, to book 2?
Well, I'm a better writer. I mean, so the more you do it, the better you become. And I every review I get, I read, and I take it to heart, and I know there's areas where I can improve my game. From a sports parlance, everybody has holes in their game that you can improve on, and I recognize the holes in my game, and I recognize what I need to improve on. I think I got from my athletic background, I think I got something I'm really good at, right? Because I've done. I mean, I could set up fight scenes really well, and I could do stuff of that nature really well. But I think there's other areas that I could, I could use some help with, or work on, and I recognize that, and I'm constantly working to get better.
Okay.
Okay, so now it's back to me. So I want to talk about your character, Kang. Can we talk about him for a second?
Yeah. So, what was your question?
Well, I wanted to, because it's rare, at least in the stuff. I mean, I'll admit, like lately, I have not been reading that much YA, but I have, you try to read diverse as much as possible, and I have to say, I mean, here and there, you'll find a hot Asian guy, but it's rare. I still think in 2015 it's rare, and I was so excited when you introduced Kang in your book. So let's talk about him for a second.
Well, so there's a couple motivations for Kang. Right now, I look at my the friends that my daughters hang out with, and it's like a rainbow, right? I mean, one of my daughter's best friend, our next door neighbor, is Chinese American, and they've been best friends since like kindergarten. They're in the same grade, right? And so there was the actual representation of the type of friends that my daughters go to school with, and also just the way that Asian American males are treated, at large, right? I grew up in the 70s, and we're talking the baddest guy on the planet at that time was Bruce Lee, right?
Yeah, ooh, girl. I mean, we got that in common because that was the
I
only
mean,
person in this house. So
right. So I grew up on Bruce Lee, and so I'm like, how do we go from Bruce Lee to Wong Duk Dong and 16 Candles?
Yeah. I don't know.
So and also I'm a big sports fan. I've kind of watched the rise of Jeremy Lin and kind of the almost the out of world momentum that it took being the first born Asian American to kind of take the NBA by storm. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dat Nguyen, who was a linebacker for the Cowboys, who was a Vietnamese American. There was also Timmy Chang, who was a Chinese American, who was a quarterback out of Hawaii, who bounced around NFL for a while. And so when I decided to make Kang, and this is a guy that's, he's the best athlete in the high school, right? Mm-hmm. I want to know what type of challenges somebody like Jeremy Lin had from a cultural perspective when they were like the best athlete in the neighborhood or in their family or whatever, just in-house. And so I kind of wanted to capture that honestly, right? I mean, because just today, with the media at large, you don't see Asian cats in that role. And I don't know if it's intentional or whatever, but I also wanted to.
Anyway, because culturally, I mean, I know in my family, they're not gonna be like, oh yeah, go be a sports star. They're gonna be like, you better go be a doctor or an engineer.
Right. And so that's the same type of hurdle that Jeremy Lin had to go through, right? I mean, he went to Harvard.
Yeah.
And you look at Dat Nguyen, who was a phenomenal middle linebacker, Vietnamese American, and you look at some of the cultural biases they have to face in-house, and that's on top of the other bias that they have to get outside. And so I didn't really want to make too big of a deal of it, but I did put a couple lines in to let you know that Kang was under, stress inside of his house because he was choosing a football route as opposed to following, his parents' path, and his sister's in med school. So I didn't want to make a big deal of it. I wanted the audience to know that Kang has his own struggles. Although he's big man on campus at school, it's not all quiet on the Western Front when he's at home and he's choosing to go this athletic route because his parents have other expectations for him.
Oh yeah, I can relate to that. Because my parents were definitely like, writing. Well, and I also wanted to be an actress. They were like, you can act on the side so long as you have straight A's and you're going to Barnard or Columbia or whatever. There's like all these expectations that they would never, I think in this today, if they were sitting here for this interview, they would deny vehemently that they ever put any sort of pressure like that on their kids. But there's a definite, they were like, oh yeah, you can write so long as you also, just go get this law degree or go do, yeah. So I get it. I totally relate to that.
So let me ask you something. Like, to not go far from Kang, is he gonna hook up with one of the sisters? Because, like, I'm so here for that.
I can't say that. That's a spoiler alert.
That's what I want to know. Like,
so all I'm gonna tell you is Kang role does develop a little bit more in the second book. He does have romantic interests, and the second book's finished. I just got to get it out. I'm not gonna tell you who it is.
That's what I want to know. I want to know.
I can't tell you that, man. Come on. Come on, y'all.
Be off screen.
Y'all putting the screws to me. No, I can't. The book's gonna be out here in like another month, and
Okay.
y'all could go through it and find out.
Okay. Okay.
All
So,
right. But
okay, now
that
that
Kay is my guide, and I'm gonna take care of her. That's all I'm gonna say.
all right. So, who's your favorite character to write for?
Um, the most fun to write is probably Gwen.
Ooh.
Uh, cause she was most like my. I had a brother that was right under me growing up. That was just, oh my God, the stuff this guy got away with. You know, I
Okay.
mean, I'm just like, dude, how did you not make it? How did you make it out of childhood without being arrested? I mean, just the stuff he got away with. And so whenever I'm writing about Gwen, I think of my brother and I always laugh and smile. It's most challenging to write from Anna, her
Okay.
POV, because she's such an interesting character, right? I mean, she has different stimuli for what she wants to do, right? She's not running track because running around a big oval serves no functional purpose on top of being just silly.
Okay.
So, yeah. So writing for her is the most challenging. Writing for Gwen is the most fun. But
Oh.
but I think writing for Eve is the most interesting, right? Because all these sisters are unique, and Eve is if you want to try to categorize them, you would say Eve as a princess, Anna as an underachiever, Gwen as the overachiever. If you just want to categorize them that way. But Eve is a fiery princess that reads a lot, that's good in sports, and that likes clothes, right? So it's kind of hard to pigeonhole her. Um, but again, she can be selfish at times and fiery at times, which is like a lot of girls going through those teenage years where I could tell my daughters, I could tell what type of day it's going to be because they'll look in the window, I'll be watching them, and then they'll walk out the door, and I'd be like, whoever gets in their way is going to be in trouble today because they just got a swag about them, right? They just
Okay.
got a confidence about them, and I could tell when they step out the door. The next day, I don't know what changed. They could look in the mirror and they could walk out the door, and there's no pep in the step. It's like a little slump in the shoulders, and I realized, and maybe not even young girls, but women could look in the window and be like, I am so beautiful, I'm bad, I'm gonna own this today. And the next day
Yeah, that
they can
sounds
look
like
in the
me.
look in the mirror and see nothing but their insecurities,
Yeah.
right? So I kind of want to capture
The
that
guys
with Eve.
not do that.
Huh?
The guys not do that at all.
Well, I'm spending a lot of time in the mirror, but I mean, I have my own insecurities, right? Where some days I walk up and I'm feeling I'm in a zone, and in other days, I just like you can't do anything right, So yeah, guys have that, but I really notice it a lot with my daughters because a lot of it is, you know, I think, and growing up with sisters, with if the hair is right, if the outfit is right, the makeup is well, not makeup for my daughters, but my sisters, when the hair is right, when the outfit is right, when the makeup is tight, they would leave the door. They would hit the door, and you better get out their way because they weren't taking no shorts, right?
Yeah.
If the outfit was tight, the hair was tight, the makeup was tight, they hit that front door, man, and it was look out world. And then other times, man, they're primping in the mirror, they can't get their hair right. The other sister got the belt or whatever, and it was just like, my goodness, get it together, girl.
Yeah, I just had a day like that last week where I took out every dress in my closet before I went to work. And my husband was like, "What is wrong with you?" I could not get out the door. It happens. I don't know, maybe it's a girl thing.
Yeah, I mean, so guys go there too, but I don't know if they go to the extremes of it that women go through,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, because Eve, before she went to Amy's party, and she was so happy, she was so unhappy with her in this natural state. She didn't like it. She wanted the depressing comb. She wanted the high comb, the iron, which is something that I grew up with every Sunday night, right? Where my mother was straightening my sister's hair before school Monday, and it's almost ritualistic, right? It's like a bonding thing from mother to daughter, which I think was amazingly captured in How to Get Away with Murder with Cicely Tyson and oh my God, the name is escaping me. But the protagonist in How to Get Away with Murder, I thought that was probably one of the most, yeah, Viola Davis. I thought that was one of the most realest scenes ever, right? One of the most dopest scenes ever. And I was so glad that was put on TV, right? I mean, because that took me back to my kitchen when I was a kid. So
Yeah.
Okay, we have two. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go. You guys
No, I
go.
was just saying we had two questions on Twitter.
sure.
Um, one person waiting for Wakanda at PFunk 1130 said, "I'm sure you want the trilogy to grow with the audience. How old do you see them getting?"
Well, so in my book, I'm going back in time. So in my book, the Parker girls are already women. They're already superheroes. This is their origin story, right? So I got 9 books mapped out, and I'm in software, so I actually have them mapped out. I'm talking about outlines for like 9 books, right? So me, the first 3 books are right after them. Like Peter Parker, he got bit by the spider. There was a part after he got bit by a spider before he becomes a superhero. The Parker sisters, if you want to use a analogy, just got bit by the spider. They're not superheroes yet, but you look at the skill sets they're acquiring with Anna IT, Gwen, just her theatrics, and you look at Eve's fighting ability. Look at the skills that they're acquiring now. That's going to equip them well when they don the cape.
Okay. Also, the Seventh Matrix asked, "How much research did you do for the girls' powers? Did you have a consultant?"
I have a consultant. No, well, so I wanted the girls' powers to be as generic as possible, and you can't get more generic than strength, speed, and smarts and IQ. Because what's interesting about the superhero genre is it's not so much the powers, but but it is the character, right? And so I wanted a superhero genre that have a POV from a black girl's perspective, right? Because if you don't care about the girls, you don't care about the powers, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so instead of trying to max out and think of these crazy powers, I'm like, let me just come up with like 3 amazing sisters and give them powers and give them a puzzle to solve and see how they work through it.
Awesome.
Wait.
So,
Oh,
wait.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, go, girl.
Uh, no,
Oh,
I was gonna go back to. I didn't know. Are you guys? Because I was stuck on this whole. You have 9 books mapped out.
Yeah, I got well. So before I wrote the first book, I had outlines for the first 9 books.
Oh my God. Are you not
Yeah.
worried you'll get bored with them?
Well, so I mean, so I got 9 books for the Parker sisters, and then and me and you have talked before, Madhuri. I
Yeah.
want to do a more adult kind of Walter Mosley,
Uh,
um, detective noir. Actually, I want it to be more like X Files meets The Wire, kind of a gritty,
yeah.
supernatural. But that's not going to be for YA, right?
Yeah.
As far as the Parker sisters, yeah, I introduced new characters. Like I introduced 2 new characters at the end of The Sins of Father. You're going to get to meet those characters in the next book, and then I expand upon them in book 3. So uh, they're getting all their crew together. They're learning these skills, and they're going to be amazing heroes. But they got to go through the trials and tribulations. First, they got it's baptism by fire.
Yeah. It's just a lot. I mean, that's a lot of. That's impressive because yeah, I just can't. It seems like a lot of time devoted to the same crew, but I guess you're making it more interesting for yourself as a writer. I'm talking about it from a writing perspective. Um,
Right.
it seems like not. I'm sure the audience, of course, I mean, they love, especially your fans, are going to want more and more and more. But from a writing perspective, that's really impressive to do 9 books. If you do it, I will give you a medal at the end.
Well, I got to get the second one out. So I mean,
I know, see, you're already struggling.
yeah, yeah. And the second one's finished. I just got to get it out. Right. And I just tweeted a picture of Viola Davis and from that scene in How to Get Away with Murder when she was going through the bonding experience with Cicely Tyson getting her hair done, which had me all up in my feels because I was thinking about this is like my kitchen, back in the '70s when my girls, when my sisters was just like me first. Me first, they wanted to get their hair done first because they know my mom's got tired. The first one that got their hair done usually had the best do. So they was fighting on that chair first, which is crazy. But yeah,
Okay, we have
We got a Twitter. We got another Twitter question too.
actually two. So
Okay. Go.
go ahead, Madhuri.
Okay. The one I see right now is Thelonious. Somebody is asking whether you want to spin the Parker sisters off into animation or comic strips or anything like that.
I definitely want to do that. So when I finish the trilogy, I definitely want to get with some artists and I mean because the material is there, right? We're just going to have to put it in comic book format.
Which is
So
that? Have you done anything like that before?
first of all, I can't draw paper. I can't draw a stick figure. I'm gonna need some help with that one. I can do the dialogue, but I'm gonna need.
Wait, but
I'm taking
one
out
of your
requests.
daughters is an artist, right?
Yeah, so one of my daughters is an artist. But she also, so she does tennis and she does other stuff. So I can't have her put away her side activities because you're gonna help me do a comic book.
Yeah,
Right?
this is true.
Yeah, So I can't. This is my dream. She has her own.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Although I could withhold dessert. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Okay, so the next question is from J.N. Monk, and they're asking, do you plan to expand the universe beyond the Sisters as a series?
Definitely. And anybody that read Sins of the Father know at the end where Eve got into that fight scene, probably the best fight scene I've written. That was one of my favorite fight scenes. There were two boys that kind of helped with the situation. Those boys are their roles expanded in book two, who bring a little bit more to the table, and they bring more powers, more mysteries, more whodunit. So definitely, their universe is gonna expand. The characters are gonna come. Gonna have better friends, better villains. So just we're gonna take it from there.
Oh, awesome. Go ahead, Madhuri.
Okay, so I want to talk about how you write race in your in this book, because when I was reading it, I felt it's interesting that there's all different kinds of kids. Obviously, I mean you earlier mentioned your daughters have friends of all races and whatnot, and so I felt like when I was reading the book, it was to me, it's a very realistic representation of present day, well, certain, where, depending on where you live. I mean, like my community right now is very diverse,
Yeah,
both
it is. Right.
racially and socioeconomically. And so you just write, I felt like reading Sins, it was just an everyday representation of reality. Reality is diverse, regardless
Right.
of what the publishing industry likes to think. It is very diverse, and I appreciated that. So I wanted, if you could talk a little about.
Well, so I wanted to write something that was accurate depiction of the environment that we live in today. But I didn't want to say, the girls are black, the friends are white, Kang's Asian. Oh, so I wanted to be more subtle about it, right? So there's things you could do in describing somebody to kind of indicate, what they are, but I say, she's black, right? And and even if you didn't get that Kang was Asian until towards the middle of the book, that's okay because I want it to be like an open canvas and because everybody's default character is white, right? So I want to see how you envision these characters without specifically spelling it out, right? Because a lot of people was like, I didn't know Kang was, uh, uh, Korean, although Kang is a Korean surname.
Yeah.
So but then I got a character in there named Madhuri, right? Yeah, that's an Indian name, and she's tall, and she plays the viola, and so
Which that's the first time, Thelonious. I know you and I discussed this because I went bananas when I saw her name, but
right.
You're the first reading your book is the first time I've seen my name in print by an American writer.
Right.
I had never seen that happen. So I lost it for a moment,
and I did that because it was a guy I worked with when I was in D.C. His wife's name was Madhuri, and I was like, wow, what a beautiful name. I've never, that's the first time I've ever heard that. I was like, I'm gonna have to use that, and I put that in a book that night.
Oh yeah. No, it was great. It was really cool because I mean, growing up, especially I mean, I'm a kid of the '70s where everything was those stupid like your name everywhere, and my name was never. And I mean, not even there was nothing. And my mom was like, don't even look at that stuff. It's not happening.
Right. Yeah.
The struggle is the same on this side of the world. I never saw Guinevere. Libby never saw Libertad. Like we was,
I know. Yeah.
Childhood wrecked.
Yeah, I mean, so I was so excited. I felt like such a nerd, but I was so excited when I found my name. So yeah, that was really cool. I like that.
Yeah, and representation matters. And the thing about it, I don't know if you guys follow Shonda Rhimes, who I'm just, who I adore. She said it's not diversity, it's normal. What's diverse by saying there's gay people, there's black people, there's women. What's diverse about that? He was like they're the majority of the populace.
Yeah.
And I agree with her on that. I totally agree with her. But at the same time, I gotta use some type of leverage, some type of tools to make a name for myself, get my book out there. And right now, and I didn't even think about diversity when I wrote this book. I just, I wrote this because I wanted to see somebody that looks like my daughter save the planet. So to me, that's normal. But to others, it might be considered, exotic or whatever. But how is it exotic or diverse to me when I live that?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. I mean, it's such a representation. I mean, diversity is reality. We don't. I mean, so it's exactly what you said. That it just. I mean, that's everyday living. Everyday living is not like some of these books you read are just where there's not a single person of color in New York City. Like they'll take place in New York City. That is not reality. You will pass a person of color on the street.
Yeah, New York City is.
So yeah.
One of the most diverse places I've ever been.
It's a refreshing representation.
And I wanted to make something that was reflective of the environment that we live in, right? And so I think one of the biggest compliments I got was that usually when people do diversity, they might have like one person of color or one woman, and I got one review that was like, what's crazy about it is like all the main characters are people that you would consider diverse, right? There's not like the snazzy friend or the comic relief sister. It's like all the three sisters are all diverse. And I never thought about it like that, where you usually have the funny black friend or the sassy sister friend. I just wanted to create a environment in these books that was close to mine and home.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, guys.
Okay, so since we're talking about race, I also wanted to bring up something that you and I talked about in the past. You mentioned planning on creating an Afro-Latino character in the future.
Right.
And most people don't even know what Afro-Latino is because it's such a new term in this modern world that, me and my sister were both Afro-Cuban American. And most people, when they hear Afro-Latino, they automatically assume that you have one black parent and one Latin one, whereas we have two black parents that are just Cuban American. So, like, it's really confusing for people because they don't understand that Latinos are black too. Latino is not really a race. It's more like an ethnicity or a gathering of ethnicities. So it's like being black and Latino is really, really hard because it's like the only images that I have are black American people. Like, and I have no qualms with that. Like, I mean, Viola Davis, that is my woman. But I'm just saying, like, seeing an Afro-Latino character in a book, I'm just curious to what was your inspiration behind that?
Um, well, a few things. Again, I've always kind of been, um, curious as far as, that culture. I saw a PBS series, Afro in Latin America, which was the most intriguing thing. And you think about the different cultures and the different ethnicities, and how all that is depending on your POV, right? Depending on where you are, where you grew up at, and watching that documentary on Black and Latin America, I think it was on
Yeah, it was.
PBS. Yeah, I was just like, wow, I need to expand my world, I need to expand my horizon. And then you posted something on Facebook a week ago that Laz Alonso
Yep.
said he was a Afro Latin, and I was just like, how come we don't see more of this, right?
Like
In
we
a in
basically
a
don't exist to the media,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, I can't don't see more. I mean, because there's so much nuance in color, right? You can't paint everybody with that's black with a broad brush, right? So my motivation in writing an Afro Latin character is exploring that nuance, right? I wanted to dive into it, and so I've been talking to you guys offline about the kid is Puerto Rican, and so I guess it's hard to be Puerto Rican in America and not be a bit political, given the
Yeah,
history.
it is. It is.
Yeah, given the history of what happened, what Puerto Rico, whatever. So I'm doing my research because you gotta do it honestly, right? It's like I did my research with Kang, right? So you gotta do it honestly. But I do want to explore that nuance, and I definitely want to write Afro Latin character that gets, he's going to be a superhero, but it's important that he gets his culture right, you know. And I can't say that I'm a nail it, right? Because it's my first time doing it, but I'm a sure try.
Trying is the best way to try to get it right, because it's the first step. I mean, when you're black, sometimes you just like any effort because it's like
Right,
you're
right,
never out there. There's nothing for us. So it's like,
right.
I mean, I'm not saying make a horrible effort, but it's like, sometimes we just appreciate any effort.
Well, so there's a difference between, and I tweeted something earlier with Shonda Rhimes and um, Cissy Tyson and Viola Davis. So you can't when you have somebody, there's diversity within diversity, and what I mean by that is like you just can't have a black person in a book or on a show and be like that's it. It's like no, we want something that tethers us to that character, whether it's natural hair, right? Whether it's a certain type of music, whether it's a certain type of food. You can't just have a character and say he's black and be like, okay, yeah, I'm good. I could check that one off. That doesn't do it for me, right? So when I think of Love Jones and I think of that poem Blues for Nina, that Lorenz Tate spit, that's
So good.
how you give a character chops. That's how you make it three dimensional, right? That's how you tether your audience to that character, right? As opposed to I'm not gonna throw shit on anybody, but I'm just saying that's how you do it, right?
Yeah.
From my perspective.
Okay. Uh,
Um, so I also in throughout the book, I thought there were moments where I just chuckled to myself because you take several digs at Wall Street. They're just little digs,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and every time you did it, it's probably also because in my job, I mean, I work for like my clients are these huge companies doing, whatever it is. They're lots of Wall Street stuff. So I just thought it was very funny. And what exactly is going on with all of that?
Well, I guess if anybody who doesn't know, doesn't follow me, I'm a bit of progressive, right? And I do little things, but I think the the struggle or the race to get profits at the expense of all else, I think is a lot of aspects of what's wrong with a lot of things. I read the other day where they're cutting high school sports, but they're giving tax breaks and public funds to a billionaire to build a sports stadium. To me, that makes absolutely no sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I ding at Wall Street, but they deserve it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, totally. I'm not saying they don't. Every time it would come up in the books, I loved it. And it was so subtle. You did it so well.
Yeah, yeah.
I really
So I wasn't trying to. So I didn't want to like do like John Updike's The Jungle, where I totally just write this this political manifesto, right?
Yeah.
But I do, and it's only like 2 or 3, so I'm surprised you caught them, right?
No, I didn't know. I know, and I wrote all of them down because every time I was actually walking my dog with 2 of them, and I took notes because I was like, this is hilarious. He keeps doing and it's really interesting because when I got asked questions about the sanctum, and somebody asked me if I was like making a political statement about the state of how power corrupts and whatnot, and I said I wasn't. I was just writing, but I think my own beliefs come through when you write. Like, I firmly believe power can corrupt the best, the person with the best intentions. You can still be corrupted. So I was just wondering, like,
I try not to let my political leanings get too much into my writings, but I want to have some fun with that. So,
those were really good.
Yeah. Hey, do you guys mind if I have a friend I want to ask some science questions? She's actually a scientist. Do you mind if she joins the chat?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, I just need an invitation. But yeah, so I'm glad you noticed that. Because I know when I was
you know what I was really slow to, and this is so embarrassing. I was really slow to Michelle and Barry.
Oh wow!
Oh my God! You have no idea how long it took me.
No, I didn't even get that reference.
Yeah.
I just thought, I was like, that was just Michelle and Vera to me. I didn't even get it. So
no, so then I don't feel so bad because honestly, I was like over halfway done with the book, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm an idiot.
My friend was like, dude, why'd you do that? Is that even necessary? I was like, I thought it'd just be fun to do,
That's too funny.
Yeah, but I don't think people know what you're talking about. I don't think anybody else got that.
Oh, wait, so nobody picked it up?
No, I got like maybe 1 or 2 people that was like, is this a reference to so-and-so? I was like, well, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thank you for asking.
God.
And I was like, can you do that and get away with it?
Once I figured it out, I felt like such an idiot.
Well, somebody hit me up on Twitter. It was like, did you just rickroll the bad guy? And I was like, well, yes, I did. I did rickroll the bad guy. So that's Anna's song that she's playing when they break into the building.
Oh, wait, so nobody picked it up?
No, I got one person that got it. Let me find that. I was like, yes, it is. Let me find that right quick.
Once I figured it out, I felt like such an idiot.
Well, when somebody hit me up on Twitter. Oh, we got hello. Are we having I think we're having feedback.
I think we're having like a replay.
Does everybody have in their headsets?
Yes. Wait a second.
I don't know if you're playing it in the background or something.
Somebody's playing it in the background. Who?
Oh, that's Kenyatta. Kenyatta, you're playing it in the background. You're gonna have to.
Sorry, I cut it off. Are we good now?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, great. Sorry.
So yeah, so that was Anna's favorite song. I'm about to tweet it out now. Well, no, you guys could go on with the questions. I just thought that was funny.
I'm not sure if I completely got what the joke was yet.
Oh, it was a couple jokes. Well, obviously they're not jokes. They weren't that funny. But Barry and Michelle, which is the name of the Parker girl's parents, are I kind of was uh, trying to be fun, have fun with Barry and Michelle Obama, but
Oh, okay.
nobody
I
did.
figured that was one of them, but then when you started missing a song, mentioning a song, then I was like, now I'm confused again.
Oh yeah, no.
That's
So
what
I
I
was
figured
talking
it
about
was.
when they break into the building and they Anna plays that song.
I-
Um, are you guys familiar with Rick Roll? Are,
Oh,
are,
yeah, that's right. I thought about that when I was reading that. I'm like, wait a minute. Is she playing? Why is she? Okay, Rick rolling. I got it. Funny.
okay, yeah.
I
So
was like, okay, I
I'm
got it.
all right. I'm
Funny.
a corny guy. I'm a corny guy. I watch a lot of John Hughes movies coming up. I'm sorry,
There's nothing wrong
but
with
yeah, I know you had some science questions, which is why I had you on because it is a science fiction book.
No, I was really just here in case anything particularly came up, if anybody asked about anything particular.
Oh, I thought you had a couple science questions. My bad.
Oh, no, I mean, I got comments more than questions, but that was more or less what I had. But
Okay.
I know that we were particularly talking about Eve's power particularly, and I guess one of the questions I would have were, if I remember correctly, Eve is the tallest of the girls, correct?
No, Anna's the tallest.
Anna is the tallest. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, just discussing Eve's power. I was sort of asking, were there any other sort of? The only one I saw you really make some physiological changes to was Gwen,
Right. Right.
which again, I guess we should. I guess everybody's familiar with Gwen, with all of their powers, particularly, and how they line up in terms of the actual science involved, right? For the most part, I guess.
I'm not quite sure what you're asking.
I was just making sure that like everybody was kind of on the same page about which ones had which powers, that sort of thing, because I didn't want to
All
lose
right. So
anybody.
yeah, Anna's a smart one.
Right.
Eve is a fast one, and Gwen's a strong one.
Right. So the reason I asked is because while I get your idea of using the carbon fixation to sort of power her running,
Hmm.
you really didn't do anything. I was wondering if you did anything else to Eve physiological wise to sort of match that
Well,
speed.
so I did, but I expand upon it in book two, right? And
Okay.
so what I want to do with Eve Speed, I guess one of my pet peeves, and this is just from me geeking out, is like having somebody that like runs really fast and they're never tired and they never eat a lot. I'm like, so how do you burn that many calories that fast and there's nothing to show for it,
Oh,
right?
no, no, I agree with you. I agree with you totally. The only reason I asked the physiology question is because usually the speed, when it comes to speed and just looking at it, sorry for those of you that don't know me very well, I'm a biology grad student, so that's what I do for the most part. And looking at it anatomy-wise, there's actually some modifications that have to be made anatomically to to actually support sort of like speed running or running faster than most people would see. So that's why I asked about whether or not Eve was the tallest and those sorts of questions because it kind of ties into that same sort of thing.
No, so I want to explore a little bit more of that with you. I might have to give you a copy of a book too, so you can kind of vet it from the science, from the science perspective. Because I definitely want to use real science and stretch it a little bit. Uh, because you want to make it tethered to reality as much as possible without going too overboard. I mean, because it is science fiction, so science should come into play somehow, which
Right,
is
right. No,
why I did. Yeah, which is why I did change. I did make apparent the physiology changes to Gwen, but not to Eve until book two.
oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, I really actually did appreciate that you actually did try and sort of reach in and find, scientific explanations in order to validate the girls' powers and how they got them rather than just going, this happened, which a lot of fantasy and sci-fi authors tend to do.
No, I don't like doing that.
So I did definitely appreciate that a lot.
Okay, cool. So, do we have any other questions out there from Twitter or from the panel or anything?
Um,
Go ahead.
We'll still have questions. I don't know whether you want to go first.
I have a question. If we can, if there's no Twitter questions, I have a question.
There aren't any.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're in a writing. Thelonious and I are in a writing group together. So I have I get to see the stuff he's working on. And some of it is really good. And I was just wondering, it's much more adult. I'm not going to get into detail. There might be a more G-rated audience listening in on this. But I was just curious because you're really good at, you're really good at YA, but you're really, some of the more adult stuff was, I just wanted to know, are you going to do more of that? Or are you going to stick with, do you want to stick with YA?
Well, no. So I want to expand as a writer, and I want to kind of explore the darker conditions of the human nature, and I want to do it in a way that I think would be too limited to YA. So some of the writings that you've seen, I couldn't put that in a YA book.
Oh no, you could not.
No, come on, man. So yeah, but I want to again explore some of the darker elements of the human condition. And I'm a science fiction geek, right? So that's why I was saying that outside the Parker sisters, there's a kind of a detective noir that I want to get into, that is grimy, that is gritty, and some of the writing that you've seen, Madhuri, is I've been playing with that.
Well, I'm not gonna get raunchy like I like to do. I will not do that right now. But I would like to say that it's interesting because I feel like it might be a product of, because you said you grew up with sisters too, right?
Right. Yeah.
The way you write women is really amazing. That was great. I like seeing. I like to see how men perceive women. And it was the stuff you do is really. I
know which line you're talking about. I know which line you're talking about.
It's great. It's really, and it's very I don't know what is the word I'm looking for. It's progressive and very open, and I don't know. I don't know. I hope you do more of that. You have a good.
I would definitely do more. Because again, I wanna do more adult stuff. I wanna be more colorful in my language and explore more adult topics. But that's just not for the Parker sisters. So yeah, that book's coming.
You're like, let's get it.
Okay, so what type of music did you jam to that inspired you for writing Sins of the Father?
Well, so I'm an old school hip hop head, right? I don't think there's any good rap music after '97. So
yeah, I would totally agree with that.
All right, no, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I'm about to get some hate, but I'm kidding. I'm Public Enemy, Mos Def, Talib, Common, Tupac, Jurassic 5, Pharrell Monch. I like that real hip hop. I don't listen too much two-a-day stuff. But I do. I tell you what, when I'm writing, Eve had a scene where she finally went to Amy's party and she was finally kind of accepted, right? I listened to John Legend's All of Me, for that scene, and I that helped me nail it, right? Because the feedback I got from that scene, where there was like no kissing or whatever, it was maybe like a little peck, but then I was like, that was probably one of the most romantic scenes, that they've read, and I was like, wow, thanks, John Legend. he's not getting no royalties though, but I'd appreciate it. So.
Okay, so we have a question on Twitter. It's from Waiting for Wakanda at PFunk1130. This is a basic question, but how did you and Madhuri get past the little hater, as Jay Smooth calls him/her? I don't know what that means.
Get past the what?
How did you and Madhuri get past the little hater? Like, I don't know. It seems like it's like an inside thing between you and Madhuri, I guess.
I don't know what that meant. Am I missing something, Madhuri? What am
As Jay Smooth calls him.
I don't know. I don't see the question. I don't think I got the question. I
don't think I got it either.
It's on my feed, so.
Is it? I don't see it on my feed. I can't even speak to it.
I'm about to tag you in it.
Okay, yeah, do that, because I don't know what they're talking about.
All right.
So while we're doing that, I have some just people that I admire, that I kind of want to
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. You know, before we close out, I'm going to do that. If I could find it, I thought I had it. All right, here we go.
Oh, I have some random questions for you.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So, if you were going to a deserted island, tell the audience 5 items you're taking with you.
Oh my God, deserted island. 5 items that I'm taking
5 items. Come on, make it fast. Let's go.
Well, wow. So this is stowed away, huh?
Come on.
I guess I would take man, my goodness.
Oh.
Can I take some books? I guess the only thing I would need is books and a fishing pole. That's 2 items.
You are not good at this. You're not good at this.
Okay, I'm not good at this. All right.
Okay, so tell us your motto. Do you have a motto for living?
No, I don't, man. I mean,
oh my
if you're
God,
a parent,
you've got to do better at this.
You know, if you're a parent and you got kids, your motto is just trying to get in bed at a decent hour.
Trying to survive the madness.
Yeah, your motto is try not to snatch anybody up before breakfast.
Yes.
And try to get in bed at a decent hour so you can do it all over again the next day.
What about what's your greatest achievement?
I don't know. I would have to say at this point, man, my family. I'm in a really good place right now. With I mean, so it's not all peaches and cream, Every relationship, everybody has its ups and downs, whether it's financial or whatever this and that. But family is going really good for me right now, and I hope I just didn't ruin it, right? Knock on wood. So my biggest achievement is probably outside of school athletics or whatever, is probably being a father, being a husband.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
And
what about you're probably not going to be able to answer this one either. Your idea of perfect happiness.
I just like when I can find a remote control. I mean, I'm a low maintenance cat, so so perfection, all this and that, I don't spend a lot of thinking about. I like being content, right? So if I'm on the couch with a remote control in one hand, a beer in the other, my daughters are playing around me, and my wife is sitting next to me, I'm pretty content in that environment. And until somebody starts crying.
It all comes back to family.
Huh?
It all comes back to family.
Well, I mean that's my life. So if you'd asked me like 20 years ago, I'd be like, man, I'm rolling with my boys. We got our but it might be, and it might be different, 10 years from now. But
yeah.
I mean, so this is, I have to be comfortable with who I am and what I do, right? And I'm happy enough where I am, right? I don't think the grass is always greener. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for the next big hit, big win. I just don't want the checks to bounce from my job. you know,
Yes,
and
I know.
yeah, as long as I can keep the
Pay that
lights on and food in the
mortgage. I get
fridge,
it. Yep.
as long as I can keep the lights on and food in the fridge, I really don't have too much to complain about.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got some clarification on that last question that
Yeah.
stumped you.
Okay.
He came back and said the little hater represents self-doubt.
Oh yeah, self doubt is huge. So and to me, I think it's good. I think you should question yourself, right? I think you should say it's not good enough yet. I think you need to take it back to the drawing board. I mean, self doubt. I use that as. I mean, yeah, I have. I mean, who am I, to say I'm gonna write a book, right? What have I done? So self doubt is huge. I use it. Insecurities are huge. I use it. I mean, I think book one could have been better. I'm gonna go back and rewrite it because I'm a better writer now. Um, but yeah, use self doubt. Think that you're not good enough. Get better, right? Worry that you're writing. Worry that you haven't written a perfect sentence. Rewrite it. So you can't. I don't think you can accomplish anything great without self doubt with some insecurity, right? Because I think it's chutzpah that gets us killed.
Hubris. Yeah.
It's chutzpah that's be like, I'm gonna go outside and see what that noise was.
I'm gonna look out the window.
It's self doubt. Be like, I'm good. And it's the confident category. Like, I think there's something in the basement. I heard something. I'm gonna go down there and check. So yeah, that's not me. I'm the self doubt cat. Good luck with that, bro. Good luck with that. Let me know what you find.
Yeah.
So, for what it's worth.
But you have to also balance that out because self-doubt can also kind of put you in a serious funk.
But as long as you're writing, yeah, you can. But to me, as long as just keep writing. I mean, if you're a writer, writers write.
Exactly.
You're gonna have self-doubt.
You can't.
You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna have flashes of brilliance. You're gonna be like, oh my God, that's like the best paragraph I've ever written in my life. You might set the pen down and walk around the table.
You're gonna smell yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, oh my God. You're gonna call somebody, text somebody. So you're gonna have, and I've only had a few of myself where I've actually got up from the keyboard and be like, I'm pretty good at this. I might know what I'm doing. Because 90% of the time, I'm like, I can't even string two words together.
Yeah.
So use self-doubt and keep writing, and then one day you're gonna have a moment of brilliance, and it's going to be because you kept writing. It's because you didn't let that self-doubt defeat you. You use it as fuel.
Yeah. Good stuff. I don't know if there's any other questions, but we've gone over the hour. I don't know. Are we supposed to keep going?
No, we could close it out. An hour is good. So I was going to tweet out some women that I admire, that I think are just doing an amazing job, just holding it down. But while I'm doing that, you guys could give them your links and your spill and where they can find you at, because Twin Ninjas, you guys have been doing that adversity thing and helping people out for a minute, so people need to know who you are, where you're at, where they can find you and what you're working on next.
Madhuri, will you do the honors of going first?
You want me to go first?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. So, like I said earlier, earlier this year I put the finishing touches on my paranormal romance, The Sanctum trilogy, and now I've got I'm doing it's a dark erotic series called the Keeper series, and the first book is the name of the book is Dutch. It's coming out October 12th. And I have an ARC tour going on right now, so if you want a copy of my book, you can sign up for the tour and read the book and get a review, do a review. And that's it. I'm on Facebook at the Sanctum Trilogy. I think you can find me at Madhuri Writes on Facebook, and Twitter I'm at Madhuri Blaylock. That's it. That's me. I'm fast.
Awesome, Madhuri. I'm speaking on behalf of Twinja Book Reviews. Me and my sister, Libertad, we've been blogging about diversity in books and the lack of it for almost 3 years. So we finally been able to put the finishing touches on a debut novel of ours that is a portal fantasy / time travel novel that features diverse characters throughout, and it's called The Marcanova. We actually have a cover reveal for it this Tuesday. And we're doing a book blitz for it at the end of the month when it releases. So if anyone is interested in that, they can find it in the links that Libby is putting out there in the Twitter sphere. But if anyone just wants to talk diversity in books with us, you can just tweet us at those Twinjas. We're always on. We always stop time for it. So we just talk
And
about
they're not
diversity.
playing about that. I'm always hitting them up.
Oh, and we're on Rebellious Cupid if you want to send us some more adult stuff.
So
Right.
should I end then?
Yeah. Okay. And this is Kenyatta. You wanna tell them a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, where they can find you?
Sure. I'm Kenyatta Adams. I'm a third-year biology grad student, and all around blurred on pretty much anything. At the moment, I'm in the middle of working on my first novel. I can't tell you when it'll be done. But usually I'm hanging out on Twitter at Ebony PhD. So if you got science questions, if you're an aspiring writer, comic booker, and you got a science question, feel free to hit me up. I'm always looking for questions and things to discuss in terms of that. And and I like talking about books, sci-fi, and nerding stuff. So I'm usually hanging around somewhere. So feel free to come find me.
Thelonious,
All right.
close it out.
And this is Thelonious. Thanks everybody for joining. I had a good time. It's always a good time talking about books, talking about diversity, or as Shannon Rhimes would say, normalization. Um, Thanks everybody for joining. Second book be out in another month. Special shout out to Madhuri. Thank you for hosting. Special shout out to the twins, who I'm big fans of. They've been kind of the vanguard for diversity and
I wouldn't say
giving
all
a
that. Like I'll
I mean,
give credit to
that
where
I
it's
know.
due.
That I know. I mean, as far as in my circle, you guys have been at the vanguard as far as preaching diversity and giving authors a platform who otherwise might not have one. So big shout out, big ups for that. And Kia is always vetting my science stuff. I'm like, can I do this? She'd be like, no, you can't do that. Well, thank you for shooting holes in my science because it's making me better, and I do appreciate it.
Thank you. I really did enjoy it, though, and like I said earlier, I'm always happy when somebody's at least trying, because it's always nice to see.
Yeah.
Because it's always nice to see diversity in science and just moving science, because that's a really place that needs diversity and diverse voices. So seeing more and more of it is always a good thing.
All right. Well, thanks. And after that, I think we're finished. It's been an hour. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Sunday and look for book 2 in a month.
Bye.
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 Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Mhm.